The sun hummed low in the sky as I navigated through the bustling real estate office, filled with the hum of ringing phones and the chatter of agents. Ryan, a co-worker with a penchant for gossip, pulled me aside during a break. "Hey, Jack," he said, looking around cautiously before leaning in. "Have you been by your wife's office recently?" My brow furrowed. "No, why would I? She's been busy with her interior design projects." Ryan's eyes darted left and right before continuing. "I heard some gossip. People are saying things about Rachel and her boss, Nolan. I'm not trying to stir the pot, but maybe you should drop by unannounced, see what's going on." I felt a knot tighten in my stomach. Ryan was known for spinning tales, but there was something in his demeanor that made me wonder if there might be a grain of truth in his words. Days passed, and the unease lingered. I found myself scrolling through Rachel's social media, searching for any sign of unusual behavior. Her posts were mostly work-related, showcasing her latest design projects, but the feeling persisted. One evening in our home office, I was printing documents for a property listing, and Rachel's laptop sat open and logged in. A chat window from someone named Mr. Sentimental55 caught my eye. The latest message read, "Had a great time last night. Same place, same time next week." I stared at the screen in disbelief. Great time last night? My mind raced, and the pieces started fitting together. Rachel had mentioned an after-hours meeting the previous night. I closed the laptop quickly as I heard Rachel's footsteps approaching. "Just some late-night work," I replied when she asked what I was up to. As she left the room, I couldn't shake the sinking feeling that Ryan's warning might not be baseless. The perfect life we had built suddenly felt fragile, and I couldn't ignore the signs any longer. That night as I lay in bed, I knew I had to get to the bottom of this, no matter how painful it might be. The following days were a haze of uncertainty and anxiety. Unable to shake off the suspicion planted by Ryan's ominous warning, I found myself immersed in a clandestine investigation. I scoured every corner of Rachel's online presence, hoping to unearth any evidence that could either confirm or dispel my growing fears. One evening after an unsuccessful day at the real estate office, I retreated to the sanctuary of our home. The soft glow of the table lamp illuminated the room as I sat hunched over Rachel's laptop, scrolling through her social media accounts. Ryan's words echoed in my mind as I combed through Rachel's recent posts and photos. They were mostly related to her interior design projects, a world of elegance she had crafted with her impeccable taste. Yet beneath the facade of polished aesthetics, the nagging feeling persisted. My phone buzzed with a text from Rachel, "Running late at work. Dinner's in the fridge. Love you." The words "love you" stared back at me, but now they felt like a cruel taunt. I couldn't reply, not with the uncertainty gnawing at my insides. Instead, I focused on a laptop screen, hoping for a clue. Then it caught my eye, a chat message from Mr. Sentimental55. My heart raced as I read the words, "Had a great time last night. Same place, same time next week." A cold shiver ran down my spine. What did this mean? Who was Mr. Sentimental55, and why were they having secret rendezvous? The perfect life Rachel and I had built seemed to crumble with every keystroke. The following morning, I approached Rachel cautiously. "Hey, have you been working on any new projects lately?" I asked, attempting nonchalance. She smiled, "Oh, the usual. Nolan wants me to redesign the office lobby. It's going to be a significant project." I nodded, feigning interest, while my mind raced with suspicion. The seeds of doubt had taken root, and I couldn't ignore them any longer. That evening, as I sat alone in our dimly lit living room, I knew I had to dig deeper. I couldn't let the uncertainty consume me. The days that followed were a blur of restless nights and anxious days. Rachel continued with her routine, seemingly oblivious to the storm brewing within our home. Unable to quell the gnawing suspicion, I delved into our phone records, hoping to find any evidence that could either confirm or deny the rumors that haunted my thoughts. As the primary account holder for our family plan, I had access to detailed logs, timestamps and durations of all incoming and outgoing calls and texts. I navigated through the cellular provider's website, my eyes scanning countless entries. Then I found it, a web of late-night calls and texts to a number I didn't recognize. The evidence painted a clear picture of secretive communication occurring during odd hours, weekend rendezvous, and late-night exchanges. Frustration and anxiety gripped me as I stared at the screen. I needed more, something concrete to confront Rachel and dispel the shadows of doubt. My research took an unexpected turn as I traced Rachel's online interactions to a forum where secret meetings were coordinated. The digital age seemed well equipped for betrayal, and I felt a mix of determination and trepidation. In a rare moment of respite, I decided to share my findings with my trusted friend Connor over a drink at our local pub. The dimly lit atmosphere mirrored the shadows that had cast their presence on my life. Connor, I think Rachel might be hiding something. I confessed, my words tumbling out. He raised an eyebrow concerned. What makes you say that, Jack? I hesitated before revealing the details of Ryan's warning, the mysterious chat message, and the clandestine late-night calls. Connor's expression shifted from skepticism to genuine concern. You need to confront her, mate. Get to the bottom of this before it eats you alive, he advised, his voice tinged with empathy. Empowered by his words, I returned home with a renewed sense of purpose. I couldn't let the uncertainty linger any longer. The pieces of the puzzle were falling into place, and I knew I had to act. Late one evening, as Rachel prepared dinner, I broached the subject cautiously. Hey, have you been working on any special projects with Nolan lately? I asked, attempting to sound casual. Her response was nonchalant. Oh, just the usual stuff. Why do you ask? I nodded, trying to hide the turmoil within. The evening passed with an uneasy silence, each passing moment intensifying the weight of the secrets that hung in the air. The drive to uncover the truth burned brighter than ever. Determined to gather undeniable evidence and put an end to the growing uncertainty, I embarked on a covert mission to expose Rachel's secret life. Armed with a small, discreet camera, I set up surveillance in our living room during one of her purported work events. The anticipation was palpable as I watched the minutes tick by on the clock. The soft glow of the camera's red recording light illuminated the darkened room. Rachel's footsteps echoed in the hallway, and my heart raced with a mix of anxiety and determination. The door opened and Rachel entered, phone in hand, speaking in hushed tones. My fingers trembled as I activated the camera remotely from my phone, ensuring that every word would be captured. Same place, same time next week, Rachel whispered, her voice betraying a sense of urgency and secrecy. I strained to control my emotions as I listened to her making plans for another secret meeting. The weight of betrayal hung in the air, suffocating me with each passing word. The room, once a haven of shared dreams, now echoed with the deception that threatened to unravel our entire life. Later, as Rachel left the room, I transferred the audio file to my growing archive of evidence. The gravity of the situation sank in. I was building a case against the person I had once vowed to spend my life with. The pain of each revelation was a heavy burden to bear. A few days later, I met with Connor again, sharing the audio recordings and the mounting evidence. He looked at me with a mixture of sympathy and concern. Jack, you can't keep living like this. You have to confront her. I nodded, my determination fueled by the undeniable proof I had gathered. That evening, as I sat alone in our home office, I stared at the folder on my computer, a compilation of chat logs, phone records, audio transcripts, and evidence from the secret online forum. It was a detailed timeline of betrayal that left no room for doubt. The phone buzzed on the desk, snapping me out of my thoughts. It was a text from Rachel. The meeting went well. Be home soon. Love you. The words love you now felt like a cruel irony, mocking the shattered trust that once held our marriage together. Instead of responding, I focused on the task at hand. This was the beginning of the end, and I was prepared to face whatever lay ahead. As the weight of irrefutable evidence bore down on my shoulders, the time had come to confront Rachel and bring the truth to light. I meticulously gathered all the proof, the chat logs, phone records, audio transcripts, and the damning evidence from the secret online forum, into a folder labeled with her name. Summoning our closest friends and family for an urgent gathering, I created an atmosphere of anticipation and unease in our home. The air was thick with tension as they entered, their expressions morphing from curiosity to concern. I gestured for everyone to take a seat, and the room fell silent. I've gathered evidence that Rachel has been unfaithful to me, I declared, placing the brown envelope at the center of the coffee table. This envelope contains the proof. Murmurs of disbelief circulated among the assembled group. Rachel walked in, puzzled at first, but as her eyes fell on the crowd, her expression shifted to alarm. What's going on? She asked. I picked up the envelope and handed it to her, my voice steady. Open it. The color drained from her face as she fumbled with the envelope. I knew the truth would be a heavy blow, but it was time for everyone to see the reality of our shattered marriage. I thought it was about time everyone knew, I declared, facing our friends and family. Rachel has been unfaithful, not just with her boss Nolan, but also with a man she met online. This envelope contains the proof. The room fell into a heavy silence. Rachel stood there, speechless, cornered, and exposed. The truth was now out in the open, and there was no turning back. Rachel's sister broke the silence, her voice filled with disbelief. Is this true, Rachel? Rachel stammered, searching for words, but none came. I held my ground, my gaze unwavering. I have copies for anyone who wants to see, I announced, producing more envelopes from a bag beside me. Some accepted the envelopes hesitantly, while others refused, unwilling to hold the tangible evidence of our shattered life. I turned to Rachel. Is there anything you'd like to say? She stood there, a statue in the midst of a storm. Finally, she uttered a weak, "No." "Good. Then we are clear," I responded, turning back to our friends and family. I didn't enjoy this, but I couldn't continue living a lie. I also didn't want Rachel to fabricate some story. I wanted you to hear the truth from me first. The atmosphere was bleak, filled with betrayal and disappointment, but it also carried a strange sense of clarity. Our guests trickled out, offering words of support or leaving in a state of shock. Rachel left, presumably to stay with a friend or maybe even Nolan. Sitting alone in the now empty living room, I felt a mix of sadness and relief. The hardest part was over. The aftermath of that fateful confrontation left our once cherished home echoing with the remnants of a shattered life. The divorce proceedings moved faster than anticipated, and Rachel didn't put up much of a fight perhaps, aware that any resistance would be futile. The court granted me alimony, a semblance of compensation for the emotional toll and the betrayal that had unfolded. As the judge's gavel fell, the legalities were finalized, marking the end of a chapter that had once promised a lifetime of shared dreams. With the divorce settlement came a division of assets, and we sold the house, the once haven of our love, as per the court's order. The judge ruled that we should split the equity, and we each received $90,000. It was a bitter compromise, but it signified closure. In the solitude of my new reality, I found solace in reinventing myself. The gym, a place I had neglected for years, became my sanctuary. The physical transformation mirrored the emotional upheaval within. The newfound energy and vitality were not just skin deep. They radiated into every aspect of my life. As a real estate agent, I poured my revitalized self into my work. The performance soared, landing me lucrative deals and even an award for Agent of the Month. The professional success became a testament to the resilience that bloomed from the ruins of my personal life. During this journey of rebuilding, I rekindled old friendships that had dimmed in the shadows of a failing marriage. Conversations with Connor, who had stood by me through thick and thin, became a source of strength. Late-night confessions and shared laughter created a sense of camaraderie that I had sorely missed. The divorce had severed ties, but it also offered the chance to reclaim fragments of myself that had been buried beneath the weight of a failing marriage. Hobbies I had abandoned in the name of domesticity were resurrected, and passions long suppressed found a voice once again. One day, as I immersed myself in the rhythm of a rekindled life, Connor commented, "Jack, I haven't seen you this alive in years. It's like you found yourself again." I smiled, gratitude welling within. Sometimes it takes a storm to wash away what's no longer serving you. I've learned to appreciate the rebuilding process. As the months passed, the divorce settlement brought financial stability, a monthly alimony of $1,600 for 4 years. While the money was a welcome cushion, the real prize lay in the peace of mind that accompanied it. The emotional upheaval had given way to a profound sense of liberation. With a newfound zest for life, I embraced personal growth and cultivated a vibrant social life. Reconnecting with old friends and forging new connections became the cornerstone of my rejuvenated existence. One evening, while surrounded by laughter and camaraderie, Connor remarked, "You've come a long way, Jack. It's inspiring to see how you've turned the page and started a new chapter." I raised my glass, a symbol of the resilience that had carried me through the storm. To new beginnings, I declared, savoring the taste of triumph over adversity. The divorce had reshaped my life in ways I could never have imagined. It was not just about getting back at Rachel or escaping a doomed marriage. It was about reclaiming my life and rediscovering what made me tick. The journey wasn't without its scars, but with every step forward, I found a promise of a future filled with promise and possibility. Thank you for listening to the story to the end, and if you like it, please support us with a like as well as subscribe to our channel. Write in the comments what you